Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 8th of March. Good to be talking with you again today. And we have moved back to Genesis, the book of Genesis, one of my favorite books in Scripture. It contains so much that is interesting, certainly what I find interesting. Today, Genesis 37, verses 12 to 24. And it's the rather sad story of Joseph, who is the firstborn of, is it Rachel, and who is quite the favorite of his dad. And Joseph is sent off by his dad, Jacob, to go and find the brothers, the older brothers, and to give news of what is happening, find news from them, and to come and report back to his dad. And of course, Joseph, and we had referenced this before in another circumstance, parents, we must not have favorites amongst our children. They are different one to the other, but they are equally special. And yet as humans, we love to create a division by having some form of status or favoritism. And you see this playing out here. Joseph is quite obviously a favorite, and the other brothers are very jealous. Joseph also has an ability to have dreams and to interpret those dreams. This is something that will come to the fore quite powerfully earlier. But at the beginning, you see Joseph is a rather young, cocky little chap, and he loves to tell the dreams to his brothers and even to his parents about how special and good he is. In a sense, in one prophetic sense, it's quite true, but in another sense, his EQ is completely zero and lacking. So the brothers are jealous of him. And when he finally finds his brothers after quite a long trek looking for them, the brothers spot him coming from a distance, and their jealousy boils up and they plot to kill him and then throw him down an old dry well and say to the dad afterwards, terribly sorry, but what happened to Joseph? We think a wild animal must have killed him. And certainly there were wild animals running around in those days, lions perhaps, bears even, leopards. And so there was a degree of danger, hence shepherds looking after the sheep, because the sheep would be attacked. And we see an interesting situation develop where the firstborn of Jacob, Reuben, who should be the leader, tries to be the leader. But there's a way in which if you look at the story of Reuben, you'll realize that he always tries to be the leader and he never succeeds. And you wonder whether he's just rather incompetent, or whether he's the kind of person who blows hot and cold. Perhaps he's a leader only when it's going to suit him and he will look good, and the rest of the time he's actually laissez-faire. But if you go back in Genesis 2, I think it's chapter 35, verse 22, and you'll see there that Reuben commits adultery. In fact, it's probably technically rape of his father's concubine. He goes in and he sleeps with her. There's no indication that they had a little relationship and that this is what the concubine Bilhah wanted. So presumably he forced himself upon her. And there's a sense in which at that point, Reuben becomes very inconsequential. So again, we must watch our sinfulness. And I do believe that certain sins have a profound and negative impact, consequence on our lives. And sexual immorality is, for me, one of those. So Reuben's son kind of starts to disappear, and we'll pick up as we read on with Genesis. But you'll see is it Genesis 38, in that vicinity, you'll see that it's now Judah who comes to the fore, and it is Judah who takes the real leadership in the family. Joseph, the brothers listen to Reuben. He says, let's not kill him. Reuben's secret plan is to rescue him later and take him back to his father. Maybe he doesn't think through the consequences of what would happen in the family thereafter. Again, the consequences of favoritism and jealousy. Anyway, as we know and we'll discover in the week's readings to come, Joseph is not killed, fortunately, but he's sold into slavery. So from this, we learn that we must be obedient to God, not be cocky and arrogant like Joseph, not be incompetent and laissez-faire like Reuben, having stooped to terrible sin, not being controlled by jealousy. And that's a big one. And let me finish with that. So much jealousy in the church. I want to be the warden or the lay minister, or I want this or I want that. And even amongst the Baruti sometimes, the clergy, there is jealousy. One person seems to be more favored maybe by the bishop or somebody else. And the bishop mustn't have favorites either. But there is jealousy, and that jealousy leads us to make the wrong decisions, as the brothers did when they plotted first to kill Joseph and then instead sold him into slavery. One wonders technically whether one is better than the other. So no favoritism, no jealousy. Do not stoop to sin. It messes up your life. The consequences you will reap forever. So folks, have a wonderful day, and we'll chat again tomorrow. God bless.